All right, today I'm going to show you how to cut straight lines, corners, and also curves. So if you look, I've got my piece of metal here, I've got a straight line and then a curve or a corner, and then I also have a curve that I'm going to cut into it. As always, I need my bench pin, which is my piece of wood, and my C-clamp. I need a stool that's not too high, so this is very comfortable for me. It's not too high or too low. I have my saw frame with the teeth installed on the top facing me, and this is nice and tight. Got my piece of wax. Here's my little reminder about the direction, and now I'm ready to go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my piece of metal on here, and if you notice I drew my lines. This is really important for everybody with jewelry because it gives you something to focus on to make sure you're staying straight, especially for beginners because it really helps you see where you might be kind of going off the line. Now, as before, when I showed you the first video, I'm going to hold my metal down and I'm just going to start with a nice little top groove. So I'm not holding my saw blade at that angle or straight up and down. Now I'm starting with it just at an angle until I got it started, which I did. Okay, now I'm going to straighten out. So I'm holding my saw frame up and down. You want to stay as vertical as possible. And I'm just going to keep my eye on that line. Remember, slow is better, especially when you've got a really straight line you're trying to get, because you want to make sure that you don't have a lot of filing and sanding and you don't mess up your design. Now, if I start to notice that I'm going off the line a little bit, I can carefully try to turn my saw frame just a little bit until I get back on that line. And then I can continue straight. This is one of those things where you don't want to be talking a lot or looking around the room. You want to just be focusing on the task at hand. And if you notice, I'm keeping my fingers far away from in front of that blade. All right, I'm getting to the point where I'm at this corner spot, and now I want to do a turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go up and down in place. And if you notice, I'm not turning the saw, now I'm turning my piece of metal. Now during this time, it's easy to get your metal stuck, so the slower the better. Just keep that motion, I'm not trying to go forward, and take your time. And if you get stuck, just do some little wiggles till you get out. All right, now I feel like I got to the direction I was trying to go. So now I'm going to just continue again on my straight path. Once again, if I go off the line a little bit, I can turn to try and get on that line again. And now I got my nice cut. So you can see I was able to cut right along that line. A pretty straight line. I'll have a little bit of filing to do up here, but pretty good as far as corners and lines go. All right, now the next one, I'm gonna do a curve. So very similar, I'm gonna start the same way, just making a little groove at the edge. Now I'm gonna straighten out. And now the only difference is, as I'm going, I'm gonna make those decisions to turn my metal. So I'm slowly turning it this way. The second I notice that I'm going off my line, I want to stop and kind of change my plan before I get too far off. So I'm not really going forward here, I'm just allowing the metal to shift positions. Now I'm going to go back in that other direction. The more changing direction you're going, the harder it's going to be to control. So you've got to just take your time and let the metal do all the work. And at any time I can stop in the middle, add a little wax to this blade if I think that'll help. All right, so now we got a nice curve cut in there, and that's how you do it.